passports could be on the way, according to the Transport Secretary, Grant Shapps. Also, he said it was too soon to be booking a break either at home or abroad. It comes as yesterday we found out that people could face jail and a £10,000 fine if they break new quarantine rules. What's the effect that all of this is having on holiday destinations we would usually be jetting off to? Well, let's hear from Sophie Sadler, editor of Tomorrow Magazine, based in Western Algarve. Hello, Sophie.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Yes, so what effect is this having on holiday destinations, Sophie?
Well, funnily enough, I was just editing an article which is going in our March edition from the lady who set up the charity Algarve Families in Need, and she is saying that the situation now is dire. It was between March and June last year, when obviously we were suffering from the lack of holiday makers from the UK. They were feeding 1,500 people a week that couldn't afford to feed themselves. And some of those people managed to get work over the summer. Some of the situation improved, but obviously now we could go back to that situation. It's very serious for people here. If you imagine in the height of 2019, we were receiving something like 1.2 million British tourists. That goes to zero, it's going to have a very, very bad effect.
Absolutely. That's just shocking looking at or hearing the amount of tourists that go there, that usually go there. Thing is, I suppose you have to have sympathy for the government. They've got to stop the spread, particularly this variant.
Yeah, so of course everyone here understands, and we are in lockdown here as well, and we understand the seriousness of the situation. However, you have to imagine when an area is so dependent on tourists that the terrible effect it has. Now, of course, the tourism is one issue, but you also have to remember that there are 49,000 British people living in Portugal, and a lot of those haven't seen their families in the UK for a long time. So also there's quite a lot of upset, because people are now thinking, when are we next going to be able to see family in the UK? You have to imagine people here might have elderly parents in the UK. A friend of mine just had her mother having a very serious operation. She was desperate to go back to be with her and just couldn't get back. So there are two dynamics to this problem, and whilst we understand why the UK government are doing what they're doing, we also have to imagine that we're living in a society now where people or families are split between different countries, and it's creating a very difficult situation.
And also, with the strict rules now, a potential jail sentence, a £10,000 fine if people break these rules. Is this the best way to go, do you think, Sophie, to get really tough so that, we get out of this situation quicker?
Well, that's another argument, isn't it, that we need to get past this. We can't keep going on. Last year was a nightmare. We were all hoping that by Easter we'd be seeing British tourists coming back, and that's obviously now not going to happen. So yes, there might be the argument that let's sort of suffer now to try to get out of the situation more quickly. However, I've had other people writing to me saying that, when they're looking at the figures, they're suggesting a very low rate of spread as a result of travel between different countries, that most of the mutations are happening within the country, and almost labeling, the South African strain, the Brazilian strain, that it's giving this kind of false psychology and making people fearful of new strains, and this is why countries are shutting their borders, whereas actually we should be looking at this as a more of a sort of global problem and looking at how to tackle it in the UK rather than just closing the borders.
Okay, Sophie, thank you very much. Sophie Sadler, editor of Tomorrow Magazine, based in the Western Algarve. If you've got any reaction to that, as always, it's your station, your voice. 81333 is the number to text, started with CWR.